And now for a taste of things to come.
Nope, you're not getting it before me, Jay. Welcome to the Wrestling Spaces, JJ.
Thank you so much, DeeJay.
Hello, hello, hello.
See, told you I bring the listeners, baby. I'm just kidding. What's up, counselor? Hope you're doing good today.
There we got a counselor. We got Shadow Back Ash. We got Queen.
Let's just call her Ashley. That is what she has asked us to call her. She has told us to call her Ash. What is going on, Ash?
What is going on, Ash?
Welcome to the one space where I don't have to clown the Canadian super chats.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. The number one fan of Rock and Ropes in the house.
Well, there you go. We also got
What's up,
we also got Green Cane in here, I'm noticing.
I know. I saw that pop up too, and considering that was something we discussed last night on the review, because we were talking about Blue Cane.
I saw that.
We were talking about Gain. We were talking about cocaine. And now we've got Green Cane in the chat. Yes.
JJ, you now have to introduce me to Aaron.
What's up?
I said, now you have to introduce me to Aaron so we can talk about our love of cocaine.
Whoa. Whoa.
Okay. Before this spirals any further down the yellow brick road, which that road was laced with plenty of cocaine as well. Welcome everybody to the very first episode of the Casa D18 Studios Spaces. James and I are calling this the Tribalism Free Zone, man. We want to welcome everybody with all opinions, all ideas. We don't care if you are an AEW fan. We don't care if you're a WWE fan. We don't care if you're a TNA fan, New Japan, whatever. We welcome all fans of professional wrestling in here. And as the weeks go on, we're primarily going to be discussing the main companies that we have access to. So probably a lot of WWE talk, a lot of AEW talk, probably a little TNA talk, especially as we get closer to their pay-per-views. Genesis is this Sunday. Unfortunately, we haven't had the go-home episode to that yet to be able to talk too much about TNA stuff. But we just want to thank everybody for showing up. I see Scully in the house, DeeJay. Right off the bat, you guys are a lot of the inspiration for James and I doing this, man. James found your spaces, introduced me to them. I've become a fan, and I decided to jump headfirst into this, and we're hopefully just gonna have a whole lot of fun, as you can find on those gentlemen's spaces. Hopefully at least once a week. Maybe we'll do it twice a week. This week will probably just be once because it's, already kind of the middle of the week as it is. But as the weeks go on, maybe do like a Tuesday and Thursday type of thing. That way we can hit you right after Raw, right after Dynamite each week. Have a bunch of stuff to discuss. But thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Listen, I'm glad I can inspire greatness for you, JJ.
There you go. There you go. But no, yeah, we decided also this week was a perfect time as much as any, because usually we would have a lot of wrestling topics on Saturday Shenanigans, but unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your interpretation, I'm calling it unfortunately, we're doing karaoke, and it's the one time I'm not looking forward to doing karaoke because it's Jake something themed. I love me some Jake something. I just don't like the name because I think it's derpy. So that's the whole gimmick there. So anytime they scream something, I will have an aneurysm. It'll be fun times.
I can't wait to watch. Honestly, I saw the preview for it, and I can't wait to watch it now. I'm like, I was like, all the episodes I have to like not physically be there.
Yeah.
Right. For those that don't know, James and I traditionally do, along with our friends Walter, Noah, Jeff Meacham, who's been doing professional wrestling commentary for damn near 25 years now. We have a show called Saturday Shenanigans every weekend, and once a month we let the walls down, we get away from wrestling, and we just act like complete and utter idiots by doing a theme karaoke night. The super chats flow in. It dictates who sings and what we sing. It's great times. We'll get into more of that at the end. I didn't want this to be a shill space.
Yes. Speaking of people that we are friends with, also Ryan is in the chat.
Yes, I see Ryan.
What's up, Ryan?
Popped in. Good to see Ryan here.
Yes. So yeah, man, we have a good time. Ashley, you wanted to say something? Go for it.
Oh, I just wanted to say hello to Ryan. Just saying hello to everyone who just joined the spaces. That's all.
I feel like I have to stick to the lore of the Saturday Night Shenanigans and call her Shadow Patash. Shadow Patash in with the $5 Canadian.
I felt a little bit embarrassed yesterday because she pops into the No DQ review and does a donation, and Aaron gets it right the first time. He's like,
just right off the rip.
I'm like, oh, okay. I've been calling her Shadow Batash for like 6 months.
To be honest, I thought you were saying my name right. I didn't know you were saying my name wrong until last week.
Oh Jesus! Well, there you go.
Yeah,
I kicked it off. I'm sorry. I ruined it. I failed it. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. I see Walter has joined the space now. One of our co-hosts on the Shenanigans.
There you go.
So let's jump right into this because I do want to try to keep this at 2 hours or less. I know James has commitments. DeeJay said he's got something he's got to do at 5 o'clock. First thing I wanted to discuss was the debut of Penta El Cielo Miedo on Raw Monday night. And I just kind of wanted to get people's thoughts of the presentation, how it was handled. You know, WWE 12 hours before the debut had merch up on Shop Zone, including masks, which is something AEW never had. I'm hearing that was because of a deal that Penta had with the creator of the mask, that he wasn't able to give the rights to AEW, or he didn't want to sell the rights to AEW. So if that's the case, then you can't really fault AEW for not tapping into that market and that merchandise. If it's not true, what the hell was Tony thinking? But I'm kind of curious what everybody's thoughts were on his presentation and everything, because with the exception of maybe the music being a little lackluster, but it's Death Rebel. What do we expect? I think that it was completely a home run presentation. I do wish it had still been done in Los Angeles on the premiere, because that was more of a home base for the Lucha Brothers. You know, you figure the Republic of Lucha store that they owned was in Pasadena, not far from the venue. Lucha Underground was Los Angeles. AEW was constantly hitting up the Forum in LA. So he already had kind of a built-in market in Los Angeles that I feel they missed by doing it in San Jose. But I feel like they kind of made up for it with the way they presented him, the time they gave him, the opponent they gave him, and Chad Gable. The fact that the first few minutes of the match, they actually wrestled the lucha style from the other side of the body, which is something you totally don't usually do in WWE. You usually always work the left, and they were working the right for the first few minutes, which is the lucha style. To the promo at the very end and his family ringside crying, I feel like they made up for the fact that they missed the opportunity last week. And DeeJay, I see your hand up, so go ahead and take the floor, sir.
So you pretty much took the words out of my mouth about the entrance and first off presentation. Everything was good except the music. I loved it. I was hyped when they did the Cero Miedo part first. I was like, okay, come on, don't let me down. And then with the music,
right?
The music, the music was a complete. At least for a luchador. If it was for anyone else, it's great music, but for a luchador, you could have did something. I don't know what they could have done better though. That's the issue. So like, I really shouldn't really bitch about the music because I can't come up with a better solution. But I just don't like it. But in terms of the match, I thought it was a good match. Ryan called it out on Shenanigans last week with Penta not knowing the difference between ropes and cables, because exactly first thing you see was him botching. Yeah. Was because the difference between rope and cables. And but other than that, he was pretty smooth. He didn't try to do any more like springboard things because he knew, okay, these are different. I'm not going to get away with these. You can tell he hasn't done too much practice at the Performance Center or in WWE style rings. But other than the jitters of performing on his biggest debut of his career, and it looked really good. It was really smooth. It got him over. Gable sold that Mexican destroyer like God, unlike Pockets, who gets right up and gives him back another Canadian destroyer. It was nice to see Gable sell it really good. He sold that really fucking good. Like, sold it, took it, did it all great.
Yep. My only bummer was that wasn't the finish of the match. I feel like if Gable had stayed down for the 3 off the destroyer, we could have gotten back to making the destroyer a legitimate finisher again.
Yep. Honestly, I'm kind of in agreement with JJ on that because, again, like, I remember when PD used to hit this and that would end the match, or at the very least be a very close near fall on rare occasions. Now it's like everybody's doing it. This would have established, hey, this can finish a match. And I get he also has the package pile driver, which I don't even know if he's allowed to use. He's probably not, he might use the arm breaker more so. But I wish they had that as the finish because I thought that was the perfect finish. The way Gable sold that was like a champion, man.
Yeah, but you also have to take under consideration that the only person they really tried protecting that move with was Adam Cole. And even with Adam Cole, there were people kicking out the Panama Sunrise whenever they could. What's up, Uzi? I see you waving down there.
Hello.
Uzi. But yeah, like, I get where you're coming from with that, JJ, but I think that this point, especially with WWE and the promo Triple H cut, the cat's pretty much out the fucking bag in terms of moves, unless it's like a main event guy. So I don't see them unless a top guy does a Canadian destroyer as a finish. They're not going to go out their way to go like protect moves like that anymore because there's no need to unless you're a top guy. But that's it for me. If somebody else wants to hop in, I'll quiet for a second.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And like, I get he's got the Penta driver as well. I don't think that the destroyer is something he's going to be able to hit on a regular basis. So that's why I feel like if he had ended the match after that and Gable had stayed down, one, you make that move legitimate again. And then when he pulls it out later on down the road, like maybe he doesn't hit the destroyer again until WrestleMania. You know, when you see that move, oh shit, that's going to be it. And then he can go to using the Penta driver next week and make that his normal finisher, go into the destroyer for special occasions, like a debut match.
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I really do feel like I understand the whole idea of not protecting finishers anymore, and I understand like that's very like a lot of people find that archaic, and it can be to a degree. But the problem is, a Canadian destroyer should not be as a DDT or a super kick. You know what I mean? Like that to me, it's like you could kick out of a super kick. We've seen multiple people do it now over the course of years in wrestling. You could do that with a DDT. We've seen the same thing, right? You shouldn't be able to do that with a full-on like momentum swinging pile driver that lands you on top of your head. It's just something about that don't.
Well, real quick, Jay, to kind of rebut and kind of add to your point at the same time, I see Penta using it the same way as Cody would use the Cody cutter. Cody uses the Cody cutter every match. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to see him pop that Cody cutter at least once a match. It's going to be the same deal with Penta. And no one would make the argument that Cody doing the Cody cutter every match would make the RKO less protected of a move. The difference between the two is Randy Orton's a main event guy who's already established the RKO as a main event move, to where the Cody cutter is just something in Cody's repertoire. And Penta's going to do the same, establishing that. So I agree with your sentiments and where you guys are coming from, but I just wanted to add the perspective of there's certain moves and certain people that is worth protecting. Like the RKO is a move worth protecting. The spear and the Superman punch from Roman are both moves worth protecting. The Huluva, you know what I mean? The stunner, just because someone else might do something like a stunner, doesn't mean the stunner isn't protected as a move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like it depends on the person. Yeah, it depends on
exactly.
And I hear you there, DeeJay, but just to bounce back off of you, because I heard you start to say the Haluva kick and then you stopped. I don't think I would be.
Yeah, because I realized they stopped protecting it. They stopped protecting that. But the point, in NXT, Triple H did protect it.
But the point I was going to make is I think I would have been a little bit less upset at the Destroyer not getting the victory if the Blue Thunder Bomb hadn't got the victory. Because everybody always kicks out of the Blue Thunder Bomb. That never gets a win. And Sammy used it to put away Miz on Monday after the Haluva kick. If the Blue Thunder Bomb hadn't got the win, I wouldn't have been as upset about the Destroyer not getting the win. But with the Blue Thunder Bomb getting the victory and a spiking, flipping pile driver doesn't.
What the fuck?
You got me there. You got me there.
Bro.
You got me there.
Completely
unrelated. You're right.
Completely unrelated note, but like, why is the Miz wrestling like he's from PWG all of a sudden and he's good?
You know what? The Miz has always been good, damn it. And he came from the same original promotion, Ultimate Pro Wrestling, that John Cena did. And he mentioned when he gave his promo in LA.
No. I agree with you. Trust me. I've been on the Stop the Miz Hate bandwagon for a while. But my question is, like, I've never seen him do freaking tornado DDTs. I've never seen him combo chain. And he's combo chaining like every match now.
The Miz, the way I compare the Miz, and this is a sports reference. I don't know if any of you guys are gonna get this or not, but
yeah,
the way I look at the Miz is I look at him like the Los Angeles Kings, and you can really put any sports team in this place. You play to the level of your opponent. If you're playing a shitty team, you're not going to give your best. You're going to bring your game down a little bit because you figure you're playing a shitty team. You don't have to give 100%. If you're playing a top caliber team, you're going to give 150% because you want to stay at that level. Miz is wrestling a guy in Sami Zayn, the former El Generico, who's been a world champion in many places, just not as a WWE champion. NXT, yes, but not main roster. But he's been PWG champion. Both men, having got their big breaks in SoCal, probably wanted to do a SoCal style match for the NorCal audience.
That's fair.
I see Ropes with his hand up. What's going on, Ropes? Feel free to give your 2 cents.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, no, I wanted to touch a little bit on the Penta subject and the Canadian Destroyer. I think there's 2 reasons why he hit it, and the reason why it wasn't a finisher. The first one was so they can show us as much as they can what he can do in the ring. And I think the second one was to not just allow Shaq Gables to be pinned just with that one finisher. More like showing, still protecting Shaq Gables in a way, even though he's not up there in the car as of right now, but they might be building him up through, again, even though at some point we thought he was. So I think those are the 2 reasons why, yes, that move was used. It was not a finisher, but at the same time, protecting Gable, at the same time, showing everything that Penta can do. He then did the submission and then the package driver. And that was the end of the match. So just throwing those points out there.
Fair points. Scully.
That's why you're the best co-host ever, Ropes.
Scully, I don't see a hand up, but I'd kind of like to get your thoughts on this, man. What do you think?
That's whole.
Here's. You hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
What's going on? I'm just over here on the coast in the what's the question?
Your thoughts on Penta's debut and why the Destroyer wasn't able to be the finisher here, why they didn't protect it.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a showcase. That was a showcase to me, honestly. I think somebody said it earlier. Like, let him get all the shit in so everybody can be familiar with what he does. I love the whole Penta match with Gable. That was a fucking banger. My phone was down like most of the match. Like, I was locked in. I love that match, especially to open the show. So I see nothing. The only thing wrong that I will say is Tony Khan. How the fuck did you fumble this? Like,
seriously. Yeah.
Oh my god!
At least
I didn't know he was
marketing.
Oh my god! That one's
I know.
somebody needs to talk to him. That's crazy.
Well, and to add to your point, DeeJay, to add to your point, Scully, the worst part of this shit is not only did he fumble him, he didn't fumble in the tag team. I don't think you can honestly sit here and watch what he did in AEW. They fumbled him as a tag team guy, because I don't think they did, but they absolutely did as a singles.
Yep.
Oh my god! This guy, did every other company forget up until he showed up in WWE? He's a great singles wrestler too. Did most promoters just completely wipe his Lucha Underground run from their minds?
Not to mention his TNA run as well.
Yeah.
And I heard he won a world championship in every promotion he's been in too.
Yes.
Yeah, almost everywhere except
AEW.
He's a damn good wrestler, and he's very underrated at what he does as a wrestler, by the way. And he showed that on this show. And in one night, he basically just reinvented the whole wheel and his stock within the wrestling industry with this one match.
Money.
And Jake,
Don't get Tony fumbled the bag.
oh my god, his merch is about to go to the moon. What the?
Yeah.
He had this guy sitting on his ass for months. So it's
by the way,
what did he do to him?
By the way, this is everybody that's listening to this would be like, you said it was a tribalism free zone. It is a tribalism free zone. You know why? Because it's honest.
Yeah, there's a difference between
not tribalistic.
Yeah, there's a difference between constructive criticism and tribalistic nature. To your point, real quick, James, as far as the Lucha Underground thing, I didn't even know about Lucha Underground until it was almost folding, and I live in SoCal. So that could be part of why people didn't know at least about that part of the run. You know, his Impact World Championship reign was 2 days, so not the most impactful, pun intended, title run that he's ever had. But with all of the championships that AEW has, let's take the world title out of the equation. International Championship, TNT Championship, the Continental Championship. You couldn't give him a run with one of those belts? Hell, Ray Phoenix had a run with the international title, granted, because Mox got hurt, but still, he did.
Hey, Ryan, don't get Ryan going. He'll start unmuting and rant about the motherfucker.
Well, once the people with their hands up get their thoughts out, I do want to go to some of the other people here in the room that we haven't heard from yet. So I welcome Ryan's thoughts once we get DeeJay and Ropes who still have their hands up.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to add to the point of, I think the argument that was made of, well, AEW couldn't do this because the mask company, blah, blah, blah. WWE got ahead of this. They were able to pay whatever licensing or go through, they paid whatever amount of money they had to get the rights for that mask, or to found a way around it to where they could sell this mask. Why couldn't AEW had 5 years to learn this? It took WWE, what, 6 weeks to get all this shit together? Like, that is a huge letdown from AEW to not be able to market and capitalize off of guys they're bringing in and guys they already have. Like, there should be kids in that audience right now with Darby face paint every episode of AEW, or even grown people. I don't give a fuck. Have the neckbeards come out wearing Darby face paint, or Thunder Rosa face paint, or let people have their own Mariah May glamour kit, stuff like that. There's multiple ways you should be marketing these people in order to get your money back that you're giving them, instead of giving people millions of dollars to be your play toys on TV. It's ridiculous. Like, it amazes me the blunder, just because how easy WWE made this shit look. Like, again, Tony had him for 4 years. You couldn't market it with him or Ray Phoenix at all. Not even talking about the booking. We'll get to that at whatever later date we get to it. But WWE's, and I know it's going to sound archaic as hell to say, but they're already doing Penta better than Tony ever did. This is how you treat Penta. Penta's not a main event guy, but they're treating him like he's a big deal, because he kind of is.
Yep. And he wasn't. What's worse about that is he won't be a main eventer here, and he's already a bigger star. But he absolutely could have been a main eventer in AEW if you booked him right. So there you go.
Ropes.
Ropes,
Yeah.
You had your hand up. Go next.
No, what I wanted to say about Penta, and I'm pretty sure DeeJay can back me up on this one. I know everybody right now loves Penta, but I've been talking about Penta for a while now, and I've always questioned how a guy that was on AEW from the beginning of before he even was AEW, and he's there for 5 years or so, and like you guys were saying, take away the world champion, he did not have anything else. There's nothing else that he could have won. A guy like Penta that's been around the game for so long, so entertaining. He's so entertaining that the few times that my wife has watched me watch AEW, because she won't sit there to watch AEW with me, she's like, oh, who's that guy? And guess who was on TV? Penta. She asked who that guy was just because of his walk. Only that. She barely saw him wrestling, and that grabbed a casual fan attention. And this guy was never nothing but a tag team partner. So basically, they gave him the treatment that Gunther was telling Jey Uso. You're just a tag team partner? Nah, man. In one night, Penta became a bigger star than 5 years in another company. That's just it has no words. There's again no marketing on AEW. The same words I've always said.
No, that's facts.
Oh,
That's facts. And the only leeway I'll give Tony, in this instance as far as marketing goes, and again, people, this isn't tribalism, this is constructive criticism. Maybe he didn't realize what he would be able to make back off of licensing the mask rights, because it's not something he had tried before. Whereas WWE obviously had 20-something years of selling Rey Mysterio masks, but he didn't want to be anything like Vince McMahon at first. You know? So that's the only thing where I can maybe give him a little bit of leeway. But when you start seeing people, and especially when they would come to the forum here in SoCal, in the audience with their Penta masks because they had gone to Republic of Lucha and spent the 100, 150, 200, sometimes more to buy the autographed versions that were being sold there, Penta and Phoenix masks in the crowd, you'd think you'd maybe want to be like, oh, people are already coming to the show with these masks. Maybe I should make some money off of this. But then you look at the other merchandising that I believe it was DeeJay pointed out, and like, how do you not sell a timeless Tony Storm wig? You could legit have sold those blonde wigs, altered into a black and white blonde to make it with the whole black and white motif she had, made a killing. You could have been selling Mariah May makeup kits, Thunder Rosa face paint palettes, like all the shit that DeeJay was bringing up. That's money left on the table.
And JJ, also to add, because Amber, I didn't get a chance to mention it, but Amber just tagged me in a post to remind me to say it. Tony had the money. It's not like the money paying for the rights to license it wasn't an issue. And Tony works with football, the biggest licensing and marketing boy in all of the world. The NFL.
Also, didn't
or at least in all of America, not
yes.
the world.
Also, didn't he pay like a lot of money to let wrestlers use some of their music, like the Final Countdown, which probably costs like a lot. So there's really no excuse for him to, like, he's a billionaire. We're not. That's an excuse. We're not giving him all these excuses. Like, he's a billionaire.
But again, I think JJ's excuse is I don't think he realized that's kind of his excuse.
There's a difference to putting money out to license something, knowing you're not going to get a return, like licensing a song or something, and putting money out to try to make money back and losing money on that investment.
Sure.
There's a difference there. And I don't think Tony realized how much money he would make back by trying to sell those masks.
I also don't think he was in it to make money. I still stand on that. I don't think he's in this to make money.
And that's a whole other conversation for a different day, Scully.
Here we go.
Let's try to get.
Yeah, I see four people with their hands up, three of which we haven't really heard from. So let's go ahead and go to Gath of Bahal. Go ahead and speak.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fantastic. His presentation and everything, and and the Destroyer. I was a little, I was like, oh, why did they pull that out there? I was a little like upset about that, just because I don't want to see it become a spam move. I've seen the DDT become a spam move. I've seen the Super Kick become a spam move, and now a Destroyer is a spam move. But I thought the presentation was great. The music, yeah, it was okay. But what boggles my mind, and I have to say, it's got to be the ego of the people that run the asylum of AEW, the Young Bucks, and those guys that made Penta be a tag team guy. But like, we want you to be a tag team guy because you can do you'll do your stuff with us and you'll make us look great. But no, you can't be a main guy because then you'll be too big and you'll get too big. Because I think that's what it was. Too many egos.
What
Too
they
many.
do with everybody.
That's
Yeah.
a fair
Do
point.
that.
That's a fair point.
Yep. So, I mean, like, yeah, it was amazing because I was locked in. Like, I haven't been locked into, to watching a actual match. I'm that guy that likes to, like, like, I'll be doing something else while I'm watching. But he came out and I was locked in because I am a Lucha Underground guy. I am a TNA guy. I am, I was watching AEW for him a lot of times. And so, like, being a huge fan and just, of course, Gable was the perfect opponent because, the beginning had, like, 5 minutes probably from this going the Lucha style. I was like, Vince McMahon's having a heart attack somewhere. Please have Vince McMahon having a heart attack somewhere. But, but anyway, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say.
Fair enough. Thank you very much. Brandon, go ahead, and then we'll go to Ryan.
Hello, everyone.
Yo.
Now,
Sing
now.
Hold on.
Okay, gotcha.
So Ryan, you'll go after Brandon.
Okay. Now, with the whole Penta debut on Raw, it was everything that you could ask for. His presentation, the entrance, the moves. It was 10 out of 10. And choosing Chad Gable to be his opponent is perfect because if there's anyone that's going to get the best or you need a good dance partner in that ring, Chad Gable was the one. And I'm going to say this, 2025, somewhere in maybe late, mid 2025, I do think Chad Gable will win the U.S. title because him and American Alpha are going to move to SmackDown. So I think he'll end up winning that championship for doing what he did need to do. Now back to Penta. Yeah, I do think he's going to be a star. Is he going to be a main event guy? No, but that's okay. I can see him probably becoming Intercontinental Champion in the future. And when his brother ends up getting out of whenever his contract expired, they're probably going to pair them up as a tag team and probably become World Tag Team Champions in the future because there are going to be some dream matches that we want to see. Lucha Bros versus the Usos, Lucha Bros versus Motor City Machine Guns, Lucha Bros versus Gorilla Destiny, Lucha Bros versus War Raiders, Lucha Bros versus
Fraxium.
Yeah, Fraxium. Lucha Bros, like
If Fraxium stays together, but
I think they'll stay together. I mean, like that. I think you have to keep them to stay together. They are a good team. Why break them up? So, I think I think it's gonna be a good. I think Penta's gonna do well. Like hell, we're not even talking about the singles matches that could happen. Him versus Andrade, him versus Escobar, him versus CM Punk, him versus did I say Rey Mysterio?
Not yet, but we know that.
Okay, Rey Mysterio. Penta versus Drew McIntyre versus him versus Seth Rollins, and hell, maybe him versus Cody down the road whenever that happens. I'm not gonna lie, I would be interested to see Penta versus Roman Reigns because I want to know how that match would be, to tell you the truth. But besides that, his debut was everything we needed and everything that WWE asked him for. And now to the other side, I do agree that Tony Khan should have found a way to maybe find a way to license the mask for Pentagon Jr. and Ray Phoenix, because that would have been money making. That would have been him making a lot of money. And it's like, these are the types of opportunities that you always think, why does Tony never take advantage of stuff that WWE hasn't done yet? But it's kind of too little too late at this point. Because now, well, WWE is going to reap the benefits of Penta's merch. Because I heard they sold out. Is it correct that they sold out on on that show? Like all his merch sold out.
Yes, it is.
Oh damn! So you could.
And there wasn't a single mask when JJ tried to look for one afterwards either. By the way.
Damn! Well, you could tell that they're going. Yep, they are going. And trust me, when his brother gets out, they're probably gonna make more money with those masks. Him and Ray Phoenix's mask and all that merch. AEW's, well, as the old saying goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And let's be honest. If you're a guy like Ricky Starks, who's weighing out his contract, or any other AEW wrestler that saw Penta's debut, you're already licking your chops. Like, if they could do that for Penta, they could probably do that for me. And you can bet your ass there are going to be some people in AEW when their contracts expire. They are going to maybe think about, maybe I should think about my options. Because are there going to be some people that's going to stay in AEW? Maybe. But I could see certain people that were quote unquote AEW lifers could eventually go to WWE. Like, I could see a Jamie Hayter leaving AEW for WWE, or whenever Mariah May's contract expires, she might make the jump in the future. And also another thing about, I do agree that Penta could have been a main event guy for AEW. And it's very weird they never really gave him a singles title run like his brother, even though his brother's title run was due to an accident. But regardless, you couldn't tell me Penta couldn't be a TNT champion. I mean, it's literally a TV title, and hell, I think he could have been made. And seeing how the TNT title gets designed, I think it would have looked cool if Pentagon got his hands on it and make some designs on it, and that would have made more money. But as I said, Tony Khan's loss is Triple H's gain at the end of the day.
Yep, no doubt. And that's the saddest bit about that. Ryan is next. If you want to go next, Ryan.
There you go.
There you go.
Chico.
Like Scott Hall over here.
There's a lot of Paul Levesque glazing here, and I just want to keep it $150. Keep this energy in 6 months. Keep this energy in 6 months. Okay, Shinsuke Nakamura is finally doing something after how many years being there in obscurity? And Paul has had some sort of creative stroke for quite some time on the main roster. I'll bet only about a year Vinceless entirely, but not the point. Like, you have Penta. Yes, they have merchandise. WWE has pipeline for merchandise that is built in from the last 20, 25, 30 years. Okay? Like, no amount of quick merch sales is going to amount to that for Tony Khan. Like, a lot of you in here, with respect, have just been glazing Paul Levesque like we haven't just seen the murder of Finn Balor.
I don't think it's that serious, because I think Finn was just helping out his boy getting put over. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's a year of difference between their age. Are you going to tell me that Damian Priest is the future of Monday Night Raw and not Finn Balor?
I think both of them are main event guys, but I think Finn is going to be okay because it's been planned. He's going to get a huge push, so he's just helping his friend get over.
Do we know that? Are we in the writing room?
No,
exactly my point. It's speculation.
They've been the main focus on Raw for like the last year. So what the hell?
Oh, Jesus, what the hell is going on over here?
Oh, this is fire alarm department. I'm at. I got you. I'm toxic right now.
What the hell? I was like, goddamn.
The point I'm trying to make is
we got
Paul Levesque book good, except when he don't. And Penta might be a thing now because we are talking very positive about his merch sales, all these blunders that Tony Khan has made, which he might not have been able to secure the licensing on that. He wasn't able to secure licensing for Luchasaurus's mask, okay? And they got sued over that. So, just stressing, one company's 5 years old, 6 years old at best. The other's 50, and the other has 30 years worth of pipeline. Of course, they're going to have merch ready to go. And I'm not making excuses for Tony Khan, but the fact of the matter is they primarily only had t-shirts. And as far as Ray Phoenix's title is concerned in AEW's history, that wasn't an accident. Him dropping Mox on his head twice was an accident, but he pinned him for a shoot. And they do that. And that should sour anyone on Ray Phoenix. Not to mention the piss poor officiating by Tony Khan.
Yes, as I said, he is not a fan of Ray Phoenix for that, which from his perspective is understandable. And by the way, folks, for those who like think Ryan is defending AEW, Ryan has bashed AEW before. He is not a tribalist. And this
isn't bashing AEW. This is keeping it 100% because everything you're saying about Tony Khan is applicable to Triple H. Give it 6 months.
Yeah.
Look, I agree. I would say this. Do I think Triple H has some blunders? Yes, I do. I think there are some things that don't make sense. But the other issue is Tony Khan has not really been able to take advantage of that. In my opinion, that's an issue. Like, if you see a flaw that Triple H is doing, you got to find a way to take advantage or counteract that, in my opinion.
And basically what you're saying is this motherfucker should smell blood.
It was also the double standard of look at all these AEW guys be presenting well on WWE television. Then when AEW has WWE guys on top on their television, it's a bad thing.
I don't think it's neither. I don't think that way.
To be fair, a lot of those AEW guys that are on WWE television now are also not fucking dinosaurs mostly.
Ageism in professional wrestling is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Look at Billy Gunn and tell me that he isn't the most in shape person on that roster.
Oh,
okay, so I don't want to hear this dinosaur statement. Okay, the only person there who realistically probably shouldn't be there right now is Chris Jericho, because Chris Jericho needs to go take a break and make us miss him. Okay, that's the only thing I really have to gripe about as far as old guys in pro wrestling. You look at every guy there with 50 years of experience; they're in the best shape of their lives in comparison to the guys there who are just rookies in the business.
And don't you think that's kind of a bit? Don't you think that should raise some eyebrows? That some of these guys who are old that are better in shape than some of the young guys. That kind of points out, some of these young guys in AEW are lazy, don't want to put in the work, or
you do not develop mature muscle until 30 years old. You do not develop mature muscle until you are 30 years old or older. The fact of the matter is, a lot of AEW's roster is young. Some of them are in their 30s, and a lot of them are past. But you look at every guy there who's in their 40s or older, they look amazing. You look at a Ricky Starks, though, not so much. You look at an Adam Cole, who, if you just throw a 2-pound dumbbell at him, he'll break into a million pieces. Okay? The fact of the matter is...
Hold up. You say Ricky Starks doesn't look good on me? Have you not seen him?
I don't think Ricky Starks looks great for his age.
Brandon, we got hands raised, bro. Chill.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think he looks bad. But I'm also
it's professional wrestling.
I can see it from his perspective of he is kind of on the small side, like he looks like a cruiserweight. So maybe that's kind of where you're coming from.
It's
Ryan?
professional wrestling at the end of the day. It's not supposed to be this serious. None of us are writers in the writing room. None of us have a penny in the race. Most of us are fixating on money, merch, and all of this. Just watch the show and be entertained. That's all I say.
I was entertained by the presentation. That's true. But anyway, we got Ropes and DeeJay with their hands up big time. They've been waiting to get in on this for a while. So I don't know who had their hand up first.
Ropes can go first.
All right, Ropes, go for it, man.
Okay, so here's what I'll say about the glazing over Triple H. I don't, at least personally, I don't see myself glazing over just Triple H, the man. I will say this: yes, he had blunders, but when you compare him to what's happening in AEW, there's a big difference here. You lose Punk, you lose Cody, you lose Penta, you're about to lose Ricky Starr, you're about to lose Malachi Black, and probably a lot more. Why is now we're seeing this pattern where in one place you have people that could probably giving you more viewers, you keep losing them, and you don't use them to their potential. Yes, we're all happy right now about Penta, but I've been on the high side of Penta for a while now. But yes, we have more people, more eyes, all happy about it. He might not be what he is today, but just the fact that he came over and he had that reception speaks volumes alone. Like they could have put anybody else in that spot and it probably would have been the same way. So what I'm saying is it's not glazing about Triple H. It's the fact that they're just making it work. The company. It's not one man in the background doing all of this. There's more than one.
Oh, yeah. And don't forget, we had to deal with a senile old man for decades with terrible booking and stories that didn't make any sense.
Thank you.
That's true. That is also fair.
DeeJay, did you have anything else to add?
No, I forgot because Brandy kept interrupting before I had a chance to say
my apologies.
No worries.
No, it's good. I'll probably remember it later.
So I think the only person we didn't really hear on about this is Ashley. Did you have anything that you wanted to add, or are you good, Ash?
Oh no, I'm good. You pretty much said everything because Penta for the debut match, I thought was pretty good. It was a nice showcase. It was a nice reintroduction and introduction to people who might not have seen Penta, because there are WWE fans who don't watch AEW or don't watch Lucha Underground.
That's fair. All right, before we move on to the next topic, then I want to give a quick shout out to my pop who just joined the space here, is listening in. Good to see you in the chat room, Pop.
And now for a taste of things
so
to
the
come.
next thing that I wanted to chat room pop. So the next thing that I wanted to kind of discuss, the only other topic I really had for today's space, was that it came out the other day that Peacock has announced the next 2 Saturday night main event dates. Now, we haven't heard anything official from WWE yet, but it's coming from Peacock, so the validity of it, I believe, is pretty solid there. The first one, not counting the one here in January for January 25th, but the first one they announced was May 24th, which is Memorial Day weekend, which has traditionally been Double or Nothing weekend. And the second one is Saturday, July 12th, which directly goes up against AEW All In Texas. Now, All In we know is going to be direct competition. AEW hasn't announced a date for Double or Nothing yet, so they can always do it for the 25th instead of the 24th. Not have the competition, not a huge deal there. There's also the fact that the NXT Vengeance Day PLE is going to be on Sunday, February 15th, or Saturday, February 15th. I forget if it's a Saturday or a Sunday. Irrelevant. It's going to be on the 15th, the same day as AEW has Grand Slam Australia. That's going to be a little bit different, though, as the Australian pay-per-view is going to be in the early afternoon for the East Coasters, morning for us West Coasters. And
which means a long goddamn day for us on the watch along.
yes, and then the Vengeance Day for NXT will be later in the evening. But the thing I want to get down to here is, was this a collaborative from WWE and Peacock? Is Peacock just in control of picking these dates and WWE has to just deal and bend to their whim? Or is there something more diabolical and vicious going on here? Do any of us feel that WWE is actively trying to put AEW out of business by running Saturday night's main event shows directly in competition with All In, possibly in competition with Double or Nothing? I see DeeJay, I know, had his hand up. I don't know if he put it up for this and took it down or if it stayed up. And then I see Ryan and Scully.
I did, but if I was gonna say, if you want to put someone else before me, you can. I can wait.
All right. I feel like it's been a minute since we heard from Scully. So let's go from Scully. Then when he's done, we'll go to Ryan, and then we'll go to DeeJay after Ryan. Scully, floor is yours.
All right, what's up, guys? Honestly, I got a question for that. How much do we care if they are doing it on purpose? 'Cause I feel like competition is that's just competition. Brings out the best in both companies. And me, I'm cool with it if they are doing it. I don't see it as a bad thing.
My only issue, if it's being done on purpose, is that it fuels the flames of tribalism that already exist in the IWC. You want to do something on the same weekend, like how we know Saturday night main event's going to be on the 24th. You want to do Double or Nothing on the 25th, make it a whole weekend of wrestling? Cool. You want to do it head to head, that's where I have an issue. And just for historical reference, because not everybody knows me, I've had issue when AEW puts their Battle of the Belts shows up against TNA pay-per-views. So I am not going to just sit here and be like, oh, well, when one side does it, it's okay, and the other side does it, it's not okay. If WWE is doing this viciously and purposefully, then I have an issue with it, because that just breeds the tribalism, and that's something that we need to kill in the IWC. Competition's one thing, but to have two big shows going on the same day at the same time, I don't think that does any favors to anybody.
Okay, I definitely see where you're coming from, but I feel like with anything, you're gonna get tribalism no matter what. You can't have competition without tribalism. It just comes with the beast. That's why I'm like, hey, they're gonna do it. See what happens. Internet's gonna be in a frenzy, but I don't know.
I'm not surprised that's your take, considering what you tried to do last week and it ended up blowing up in your face a little bit.
Wait, what?
A little bit.
Wait, what?
Just a little bit. We won't mention his name.
Maybe it's just my naivety, Scully, but I feel that you can have competition without tribalism. That's kind of part of what these spaces are going to be dedicated to, is the fact that you can have both. You can have the proverbial cake and eat it too, and you don't have to pick. You can have the cake and the donut. You can have everything. You can have the steak and the fish. You can have it all. Just it doesn't matter.
I'm hungry.
Instead of James, you're fat. You're always hungry.
I know this. I know. I'm aware, but
and that's my brother. I can go there on that one, y'all.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Nobody can actually see us. Shit. Anyway, yeah. Scully, what I meant by that is fat racist piece of shit when you try to defend him and then, he said that word and then you're like, ah, shit.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, that's what I meant by that.
Yeah. Good point.
You're like, hey, let's see what happens. Just throw a fucking grenade in the minefield. Yeah.
But let's not go there. That was last week, y'all. That was last week in different spaces. Let's not give him any breath.
I'll say that. DJ's number one, but I'm climbing the ranks. But yeah, DJ, you go next, or whoever was supposed to go next.
It was going to go to Ryan and then DJ to finish this one up, unless anyone else raises their hand in the meantime. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, so we don't know the contracts for these. I really doubt that NBC Comcast really cares about whether or not they're up against another wrestling product. I don't think they care. I do know, just based on the history of WWE, they probably do care a little bit more. They did, and this is a Vince-ism, if you will, they did decide to move NXT to cable on Wednesday nights ahead of Dynamite, after Dynamite was announced for Wednesday nights. And I'll give you this. NXT was always a Wednesday show, but it wasn't on cable. It was a stream WWE network thing, right? So, I don't know. I don't think there's any conspiracy between the two. I think this is one petty organization continuing to be petty. Is what it is on that one. That said, I agree with you. I do not like it when Tony tries to counter program things with Battle of the Belts or Ring of Honor or anything like that. And you usually, a few times a year, get to see Rampage, well, not anymore, get murdered by that. So, this is what it is. As far as...
I mean, to be fair, there's only so many days in a week, unlike what Scott Steiner has said in the past, where he thinks there's 8 days in a week, and Bully Ray was saying there's only 7 days in a week.
Hey, it really depends on how much you travel, brother.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I forgot about the Hulk Hogan metric.
I was going to say Hulk Hogan worked 400 days in a year. Remember that.
Hey, when you actually sit down and adjust for the math, he probably did. How many times did he cross? How many times did he cross the international date line in a year?
I was going to say, number one, the Beatles talked about 8 days a week back in the 60s before Scott Steiner was a thing. Number two, when you're crossing the international date line all the time, there very easily can be 8 days in a week.
So, either way, I don't think there's any collusion. I don't think there's any conspiracy. WWE has a history of doing things like this anyways. Normally, that's why you wait until after WrestleMania is booked before you book your shows, right? For that week.
Yep.
So you can book around it, right? So, yeah. Is what it is. That's my thoughts on it. And I'm a hop on out of here, actually. I got to go.
Fair enough. Thank
That
you
is-
for joining us for a bit, Ryan. We've enjoyed having you here. DeeJay, it's on you, brother.
There you go.
So, question is basically, do you think WWE or was it NBC that wanted to go out their way to mess with AEW? Is that essentially what the question is?
Yeah, more or less. Is this a WWE thing and we're being lied to, told it was Peacock's decision, or is this really Peacock's decision? And maybe Peacock is completely unaware of AEW's plans or whatever, because again, maybe it's naivety, maybe it's being a little too optimistic, but it's possible that the Peacock corporate heads are too tuned into their own programming, their own business that they're trying to run, that they don't even realize that some other promotion is running a show on that day.
So I wholeheartedly think this is all WWE's doing. You'd be stupid to not think so. WWE is definitely doing that. Listen, Peacock may be the one who put out the date, but WWE told them, yeah, you can put out the date. Definitely. It's not like Peacock went out and did it of their own volition. That's something WWE gave them the okay to do, and it's something they encouraged them to do. So I agree to the point that WWE is going out their way, not only fuck with AEW, but to counter program them and their events. But it wouldn't be such a hard or big deal if AEW wasn't in bad shape right now. If this was AEW 2.5 years ago, people would be like, yeah, they're booking on the same night. Let's do this. See if they can it would be real competition. But now people are looking at it a weird way because they see it as WWE punching down. Now let's put this in the realms of reality of what quote unquote competition is. AEW is going against Saturday night's main event. It's not Raw. It's not SmackDown. It's not NXT. It's a Saturday night show that just came out of nowhere that NBC is putting on. So it's not like,
Sure.
So it's definitely not like AEW's taking them as serious competition, but they are going out of their way to fuck with them now because AEW views themselves as competition, and everybody in the wrestling bubble want to view AEW as competition. To where, like I said, if this was 2.5 years ago, we would be embracing the competition and blah, blah, blah. But also, if this was 2.5 years ago, WWE wouldn't have the fucking nerve to do it because they'd be too scared to see if they get smacked down. So, of course, they're doing it now because they can punch down.
I will say, to add to your point, it maybe I have like two different points. One's going to counteract the other here, but to add to your initial point, AEW was competition more so like 5 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, than they are now to WWE. And not
more
that
3 years ago.
Not
yes.
that they would beat them necessarily per se, but their business was a lot better, comparatively speaking, on every other metric other than the ratings. And, you know, facts prove that. They're nowhere near where they are now. The other part of that was the reason why I don't think it's WWE's decision this time is because this is a TV contract situation. And NBC, I think in this case, chooses the dates of these shows, much like the original SNME did back in the day. So I think this is very much NBC's decision. And WWE just approves it, probably knowing it probably can be a both and here, but I don't think it was a situation where WWE was the one who made the first decision in this. Because I think they would have been way more blatant with it, because they have been way more blatant with other shit in the past. I mean, did we see the whole CM Punk and Seth Rollins thing?
Jay, can I counteract that real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So, who wanted to bring back Saturday night's main event, WWE or NBC?
I think it was I think it was a joint thing.
No, it was more of a WWE idea they were pushing because TKO is trying to expand that content as much as fucking possible. That's basic business narrative. If you see something that's booming and growing, you add to it. Ergo, why Collision got added to as a show, why Rampage got added as a show, because AEW was hot and they wanted to add as much to it as possible.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, WWE is the one who pushed for this relationship. WWE is the one who pushed for this show, and why they wanted to make it as successful as possible so they can keep doing it. They didn't want to do a Saturday night show just out of nowhere. They wanted to do it because they know Saturday night is open for competition. They smell blood. They smell blood in the water. AEW almost had success with a Saturday night time slot. They almost did. And WWE saw that little bit of success and they're like, yo, we can do that with our own flavor. So they're going to do it with their own fucking flavor and run Collision off of Saturday nights. That's their plan. That's a WWE plan.
I think that's a bit, it's a bit of a stretch to say that. I think AEW is going to run Collision off the air on their own. To be honest with you, WWE has even a dent in that.
No, you're right, but I'm saying WWE is doing as much as they can to not only capitalize off that and contribute. They're killing two birds with one stone here. They're capitalizing off the lapsed AEW fans by throwing a big, quote unquote, PLE type of event on Saturdays, and not every Saturdays, but once a month every Saturday, and it's going to be something to look forward to. And you don't think that AEW running their pay-per-views on Saturdays, did it contribute to the fact of making this show as big as they're making it?
Sure. But I will say, I thought it was every other Saturday, though. No?
It's quarterly. It's once every 3 months is the deal.
Yeah.
Kind of like how AEW's original big pay-per-views are, right?
So we've got this coming one in January. So go through March, then April, May, June for that quarter. Then July, we won't get one in August, September, and then we'll get one either October, November, December. Probably December if we're being realistic, because WWE doesn't usually have PLEs in December anymore. They've been giving family the travel time to have extra time at the holidays. Logistically speaking, why wouldn't you just do the SNMEs when you have your big four? Do it the Saturday going into Rumble, like we're doing, the Saturday going into Mania, that takes care of April, the Saturday going into SummerSlam, that takes care of August, the Saturday going into Survivor Series, that takes care of November. That gets you your one a quarter, and it can be the huge go home because it's by branded, both brands are on it going into the show, and then you've still got the Raw and SmackDown go homes as you finish that week out going into the PLE. If WWE, if WWE were booking this, I think that would be the intelligent way to go.
Yeah. And then, by the way, after you do that, DeeJay, and counteract him, let's make sure that Ropes gets in on this.
Yeah, Ropes has been very patient, and I appreciate you, Ropes.
Yeah, I got you, Ropes. This will be quick. So I agree from that aspect if WWE has control, but I also feel like this is an experiment. This is not, this isn't going to be, because this can get bigger. Think about the success the first one had compared to how big they just did on Netflix. They're going to be riding that high, and NBC is going to want to capitalize off of that high as well. So if this Saturday night's main event turns out to be bigger than the last one, say they do end up breaking 3 million on a Saturday night, which is usually a really hard time slot to do, they're going to want more of that. They're going to not just want it, for special occasions. They're going to want that shit monthly. They're going to want it every Saturday. We're going to make this every big Saturday once a month. We're going to make this a huge, huge deal. We're going to make this special. We're going to try to market it.
This will effectively be the go-home show to the pay-per-view type feel.
Exactly. It could start being that. They can capitalize off this in a different way than most people think. The go-home shows for each show now will be important, but guess what? You got to look forward to Saturday night's main event, because anything can happen before the pay-per-view. And it's also a really easy show to tape as well.
And to be honest, too, I kind of want them to do that anyway, not because I want them to counteract with AEW, but because I think that would absolutely help the talent that wants to get on the pay-per-view. If they can't be on the pay-per-view, maybe you could slot a match that's big enough to be on the pay-per-view. You can put it on Saturday night instead. and really get that audience really to care about them as well, and not make it feel like it's a jobber fest. You know. So that would be good. Ropes, go for it, my guy.
Yes, the floor is yours.
So on this one, I'm gonna have to say that this is just competition, and it is a WWE that made the decision. Why? The last AEW pay-per-view was called World's End, and it was held in Orlando at the addition, whatever it's called, arena. The arena is basically a college arena. And what was happening about 20 minutes away from that arena? A WWE house show at the Kia Center, a real arena. So on the same night, on a Saturday night in Orlando, and I know because I went, there were two wrestling shows, and one was a pay-per-view by AEW, and the other one was just a mere house show by WWE. I knew this for months, and I'm like, WWE just want to put their dick on AEW, because why? But as I'm arriving to Orlando and I'm passing by the arena, I'm seeing the amount of people pouring in, and I'm like, wow, this house show is actually gonna draw more than it draws down here in Miami. House shows in Miami for WWE, I don't feel like they draw as they should. But up there in Orlando, they did. And they ran it the same night as AEW. And it didn't affect AEW in any way, at least in the amount of people that were in attendance, because that place looked full from what I saw. So this is just about competition and just business and how it works. So they can either swim or not.
They could either swim or not. Real quick, Ropes. God damn, you're in fucking Miami?
I am, yes. Well,
you lucky bastard. We're over here friggin' freezing our asses off everywhere, or burning, depending on where you are, I guess. Which, you know, God rest their souls. I hope they're doing okay.
Right?
Yep,
You're in the middle of a snowstorm blizzard. I'm out here where the fires are burning motherfuckers' houses down. Fucking Ropes is on the beach with a Mai Tai and his feet kicked up.
Yeah, you motherfucker. Like, what are you doing, man? What the fuck, man? I'm pissed at you. I am jealous of you and where you are at. You are in the best weather.
It's actually cold to our standards today because it's just under 60.
Oh, fucking, it's just under 60. Brother, it's fucking frigid cold up here. It's like damn near 15 degrees where I'm at. Shut the fuck up. It's cold.
That is really cold, and I have lived it.
Come to my city. You'll see what real cold is like.
Yeah, I know.
It's cold to his temperatures. He's still walking around with shorts and flip-flops on.
So I'm not going to tell you.
I mean, even though it's cold, I went out there with a tank top. So
see,
exactly my point. Exactly my point. Oh, it's cold up here. It's still cold. So don't be too pissed at me. It's cold. Fuck you.
I get it. Last year I went to Georgia and it was 1 degree. I'm like, damn.
1 degree.
1 degree in Georgia.
Jesus Christ. Nope.
Ashley, what are your thoughts on this? You've been awful quiet.
Yeah, it's funny, like how, like, you hear about like AEW talk about like how they want competition. It's like they want competition unless there is competition.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. You pretty much summed that whole debate up pretty well.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of the counter booking, but at the end of the day, it's just business. Like, watch what you want out of the two options. Like, if you want to watch the AEW show, watch the AEW show. If you're a WWE fan, watch the WWE fan. Or if you like both, watch the one that interests you first, and then watch the other one at a later time. That's the beauty of the internet and PVR and all that stuff.
I mean, yeah, and again, to be fair, even though I said it jokingly, there is only so many fucking days in the week. I mean,
yeah, I mean, this can hurt both companies if you really want to examine it, because on the one hand, AEW is putting on a pay-per-view that you got to spend $50 to watch. So more people may want to watch the free show on NBC or Peacock, where it's only $10 a month or whatever the tiers are, as opposed to dropping $50 for the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
The
or you
flip
have to,
side to that
sorry.
coin, though, for the WWE fans and the WWE heads is that AEW is known for putting on top-tier pay-per-views. As shitty as their weekly product is, their pay-per-views don't miss 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So people know that if they spend the $50 for All In, which is essentially their WrestleMania, they're not going to be disappointed. Therefore, the viewership on main event will go down because more people are buying the pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's why I say if they want to do it on the weekend, you know, like the Double or Nothing could be, and AEW does Sunday for Double or Nothing, Saturday is Saturday night's main event, that's fine. That's, you know, in the words of the simple man Noah Foster, that's all the wrestling, all the wrestling. We love that. But if you want to do it on the same day, and granted, the professional wrestling bubble has been built out of competition. You know, Survivor Series only began to compete with Starrcade. You know, so this long-standing rivalry and running shows opposite is nothing new. It goes all the way back to that and before.
Mm-hmm.
But we're in a world now where there's so many different options, so many different ways to view everything. And the tribalism is already at astronomically insane levels of dumbfuckery. That do we really need to give more of a reason for there to be these war of words?
Right, the adding more fuel to the fire, if you will.
Yeah, pun intended, considering where I'm at.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, gee,
But
no.
pun is completely
Listen, you're all
intended
right.
because that's exactly what they're doing. They're adding fuel to the fire. Instead of dousing the flames, instead of, you know, WWE being like, oh, well, you know what, Saturday night is July 12th is All In. Let's do main event on the 19th. No, we're doing it on the 12th. And again, I don't know if it's WWE's decision or if it truly is Peacock's, because the way the whole Saturday night main event partnership began with WWE was that it ran during the weeks when Saturday Night Live had an off week. Because during the season, there was always a couple of weeks there where Saturday Night Live didn't run. Like usually in November, October, November, just before Survivor Series, and usually around February, like sweeps months. There was always 1 week when there wasn't Saturday Night Live and Saturday Night Main Event took its spot. So if this is a Peacock NBC decreed date, that's one thing. But if this is WWE, that doesn't make things look good. Because they're doing exactly what we shouldn't be doing, and that's further dividing the audience. We should be able to come together as brothers and sisters with this thing that we all love, which is professional wrestling.
I think the big issue with that, and unfortunately, this will be my last statement on the air, and then I actually have to head out here. But I think the issue ultimately is like, it's only an issue because of the fucking toxicity in the IWC anyways. If there wasn't the rampant nonsense going on all the time, I don't think we'd be talking about this like it's a bad thing, because
in our circle, JJ, we don't see it as a bad thing. In fact, we actually see it as like a great opportunity because it's like, yay, simulcast day. Let's put the teams and let's cover both.
Content.
Exactly. Like,
Thankfully, we have a strong
content.
enough team where we can do that because if we're being
Yeah.
real, you and Noah will probably cover All In while Walter and I do Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, it'll be perfect. Like, that's exactly what would happen. And, shit. Like, if more of the audience was like that, I think we'd be a lot better off. But again, there's reasons why I think people are mad about AEW. It's like, because there are fans about AEW that don't, they watch AEW for the reasons to watch AEW as they should, right? It's for the wrestling. It's not really for the storytelling. There is some storytelling, but not as substantial.
Yeah,
So they watch it for the wrestling and the matches. For the WWE, it is the storylines and it is the cinema aspect of it, and it is the promos, I guess you could say, the mic talkers.
The stuff
which
that
is why I think.
Oh, sorry. I was about to say the stuff that leads into the match, the reason behind the match, other than it being a dream match or exhibition or for a title.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, if you like that type of wrestling, go for it, right? But I think it's showing more and more that people are choosing, they want story more so than anything else. And the thing is, like, when I was a AEW fan and I wasn't as critical of the product, they had all this stuff. They had the smorgasbord, as I think Kenny Omega called it once. Like, they had the mic talkers. They had the big house wrestlers. They had, the PWG style, the lucha style. They had the strong style. They brought, literally, if you could wrestle and you had a certain style, they'd bring you in. And that's what made the show dope for a while, because it literally did offer everything under the scope of professional wrestling. And now it's gone so, like, left that it's not anymore. Like, it's just not. Like, it's one style. It's pretty much only one style. And I think people are sick of that one style,
Yeah, that's the reason why I usually just watch the pay-per-views, because I've tried watching Dynamite, but I don't know what it is. It could just be me, but all the matches are structured way too similar.
Yeah, Ashley, join the club. I feel you, and that's why I can't watch any AEW television. I tried after they booked really good angles before they completely screwed it up, as we saw. Like, I tuned in. I think the last time I tuned into an AEW TV show that I didn't have to do because, watch along coverage and nobody else could do it, right, was, I think, All In or after All Out, after the whole Hangman Page, and they did, like, nothing to capitalize it and then just book a bunch of fucking matches. And it wasn't like it was a new problem. Like, AEW always struggled with that, but usually it would pick back up again the very next week. So maybe that's why I just never noticed it before. But now it's like I notice it even more, and now it's every show is like that. And you could tell, well, apparently the freaking the aftermath shows were always booked by Tony Khan, because now every show is booked like Tony Khan. Like, I don't know. Like, I just, it sucks, because I remember when they used to have everything wrestling, and that's why I actually loved AEW. And now it's like, we just got this one style.
They're going through an identity crisis as well. They're not sure what exactly is AEW anymore.
No, no, they're not.
That is the most real. That is the most real statement I think I've ever heard. Sorry to step on you, James.
Well, I would agree with that, but the only problem is they know their identity.
No, I don't. I really don't think
they know
they
their
do.
identity.
I really don't think they do. I don't think Tony Khan knows what he wants to be anymore, because they've gotten so far away from their original mission statement.
No, I agree with that.
To
Oh,
the point,
okay.
to the
So,
point where
okay,
Cody is
if you're
already
talking like
left,
that,
and
then
Kenny
yes.
Omega damn near has a foot out the door.
Yep, as we've discussed. But the reason why I say they don't, or at least it just doesn't seem like they don't, is because it seems like they're very comfortable with the PWG indie darlings, kinda. And I'm not, no offense, JJ, I'm talking specifically the Young Bucks style PWG.
None
Yeah,
taken.
Not you.
Fine,
Or
none
they have the fucking retirement home fucking people.
Yeah, I opt.
You know,
I am learning
and again, yeah, and the learning tree, and again,
Oh,
it's
God.
not like it's not like there was full of them, but now it is full of them. Like, and the problem is, you know, with the exception of Jericho, Adam Copeland, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, like these guys are like the combined ages of damn near 150, just those three names alone, and they're like better presented than all the AEW guys because they know how to present themselves as stars and not as whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's another problem. But again, you could have easily counteracted that if you, I don't know, brought in Starks and not just benched him, or you know, a whole Kingston. By the way, you know, talk about a guy I feel bad for. Look at fucking Eddie Kingston and see how he was nowhere even as remotely passionate now as he was about AEW 3 years ago. That dude literally couldn't wait for a vacation. The minute his knee gave out, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna sit this one out and then I'll come back when I want to. Dude let himself go. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but like that dude's face says, I don't want to go back to work.
Oh, those were legit pictures?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
no, those
That
I
is
don't
very
think those are
concerning.
bullshit. Yeah.
I thought that was fake.
Yeah, dude.
I thought that was fake.
No, those are real.
Why?
I hate to say it, but it's real. Yeah, those are real pics.
Damn, that's
And
concerning.
again, you know, we all have to start somewhere, but
Yeah.
and Eddie was like, say what you will about Eddie, and I know JJ has said plenty about the guy, but like that dude was fucking team captain fucking AEW in that locker room. I'd argue that he was the locker room leader, to be fucking honest with you. The way they looked at him for advice, and like they documented this on the BTE YouTube channel. Like he was championing this company. And now it's like he's barely wanting to work, and it makes me sad. It makes me sad because, you know, it's not like he's a fucking saint, but like he really believed in this company, and to see him just be like, I don't give a shit. And the sad part is, this is probably his last fucking full-time wrestling contract he's gonna ever have in his career. And it's really sad that he's going out with a whimper because of how AEW is just being run to the ground right now. So it makes me sad.
AEW's booking
it's not
is
a
just
tribalism thing. It's just
all over the
facts,
place.
guys. You know,
Yeah.
it's scary when you see shit like that.
Anyway, but that's all conversation for another time.
100%.
But that pretty much wraps up the two topics that I wanted to discuss today on this space.
Yes.
I know James has got something that he's got to get into. I see that we've already lost DeeJay and Ryan. You know, they had to dip out.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I want to thank everybody for participating and being a part of this first space that me and James have hosted.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Scully. Thank you, Ropes. Even though they've dipped out, thank you, DeeJay. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you. I saw Ghost in here, even though he didn't request to speak or anything. Thank you to everybody that came. And
Pro Wrestling
showed up
Counselor
for
was in here as well.
Yeah,
Lurking.
Counselor for a little bit. I see Hannibal and Big Bumps in here right now. Brandon, Brandon, thank you for participating and contributing your thoughts to the show. Like I said at the outset, this is something that I'm looking to do probably Tuesdays and Thursdays going forward. That way we can do it after Raw, after Dynamite each week. I won't do one tomorrow, obviously, since we did today. So next Tuesday would probably be the next one that I'm a look to do. But make sure you guys, if you are AEW fanatics, if you like our content, subscribe to Casa D18 Studios and J Hebert 95 on YouTube. Join us tonight for our watch along. We are doing a watch along tonight of the Maximum Carnage Dynamite.
Yes,
We're doing a watch along this weekend for TNA Genesis. We're also doing a watch along for the Maximum Carnage Collision.
Which, by the way, good
Saturday.
sir, and do you need me? I forgot to ask. I don't
Yes,
know.
I told you that in private chat, bro.
Okay,
Yes,
so
we do.
there you go, folks. There you
We'll
go.
be doing Simply Predicting, which is a show our buddy Noah hosts tomorrow night. As soon as TNA Impact goes off the air, we'll be predicting Genesis on YouTube, giving our thoughts about what we think will happen with those matches. So please make sure you subscribe to our channels. Subscribe to Rage of Wrestling and N Foster 1916 on YouTube as well. And that's where you can see all of our content. And if you want to see us make asses of ourselves, join us this Saturday night as we do our monthly karaoke, and we sing songs with the word something in the title as a way to fuck with James. Take something in it. You get
Ashley, no.
I see
No.
Ryan
Sorry, I
popped
had
back
dinner.
in here for the outset. Again, thank you, Ryan, for participating. But that's going to wrap up the space for this time. And we will see you guys next Tuesday for our next one. Same time, about 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Enjoy, in the words of the simple man Noah Foster, just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling, everybody. It truly is as simple as that. Have a good day.
And now for a taste of things to come.